I want you to picture a specific moment in your near future. You wake up, the morning light is bleeding through your blinds, and you reach over to grab your phone off the nightstand. You blink the sleep out of your eyes, tap your banking app, let Face ID do its thing, and there it is. The screen loads, and staring right back at you is a six-figure balance. $100,000. You sit there on the edge of your bed for a second, just letting the absolute weight of that number sink in. You did it. After all those years of packing a sad turkey sandwich for lunch, driving that clunker of a car that makes that weird rattling noise on the highway, and saying no to weekend trips while it felt like everyone else on your Instagram feed was living their best life in Tulum, you actually did it. You climbed the mountain. I want you to take a deep breath and genuinely celebrate that feeling, because you have achieved a level of financial security that most people will only ever dream about. Welcome back to Grow with Tony, the podcast where we break down the real, unfiltered strategies to build your wealth, upgrade your mindset, and design a life of absolute freedom. I'm your host, Tony. Just a quick reminder before we dive deep today, everything we talk about on this show is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and is not formal financial advice. All right, let's get into it. I need to tell you a secret today, and it might not be exactly what you want to hear while you're popping the champagne. Reaching your first $100,000 is not the finish line. Not even close. In fact, it is just the starting gun of a completely different, much higher stakes race. What you decide to do next, right in this very moment of success, is going to act as the compass for your entire financial future. It will determine whether that 100,000 aggressively multiplies into $500,000, then $1 million, and beyond, or if you wake up 5 years from now, looking at the exact same stagnant balance, scratching your head, and wondering where all your incredible momentum went. There is a legendary quote in the investing world, spoken by the late brilliant Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's right-hand man. He was once asked about building wealth, and he famously said that accumulating the first $100,000 from a standing start is a bitch. It is an absolute uphill, grueling battle, and he is entirely right. When you are starting from zero, you have to fight tooth and nail for every single penny. You are essentially building an entirely new identity. You're building financial habits from absolute scratch, learning how to stop money from burning a hole in your pocket, and figuring out how to increase your income. And you know what the hardest part is? In the beginning, compound interest hasn't even RSVP'd to the party yet. If you have $1,000 invested and you make an incredible 10% return in a year, you made $100. Great. That pays for a nice dinner. It doesn't change your life. You are doing all the heavy lifting with your own sweat, your own discipline, and your own savings rate. But here is the incredibly beautiful part of the story. Once you cross that magical six-figure threshold, the physics of your wealth completely shift. It's like breaking through the Earth's atmosphere. Suddenly, the resistance is gone, and gravity is working on your side. Your money wakes up, puts on a hard hat, drinks a pot of coffee, and starts going to work for you. Think about the math. A 10% return on $100,000 is $10,000. That's a used car. That's a few months of rent. That is real, tangible momentum generated entirely by your money, not your physical labor. The second 100,000 will take a fraction of the time the first one did. The third will be even faster. That is the true, undeniable magic of compounding. But, and this is a massive but, that magic only happens if you don't sabotage the machine you just spent years building. So, what is the exact game plan? How do we take this $100,000 and turn it into generational wealth? The very first and easily the most dangerous obstacle you have to defeat is the final boss of personal finance, lifestyle inflation. I know exactly how the psychology of this works. You have been suffocatingly disciplined for so long. You look at your bank account and a little voice in the back of your head starts whispering. It says, "Hey, you are rich now. You sacrificed enough. You deserve that luxury German SUV. You should definitely ditch these roommates and move into that luxury penthouse downtown with the floor-to-ceiling windows. You can afford the monthly payments." But here is the harsh, unglamorous reality. The exact moment you permanently increase your baseline spending to match your new level of wealth, you are throwing a massive wrench directly into your compounding engine. There is a concept called Parkinson's Law, which states that work expands to fill the time allotted for its completion. Well, in finance, expenses naturally expand to match your income, if you let them. Think about it like this. When you are in your early 20s, you drive an old beat-up Honda Civic because you literally have no other choice. It's all you can afford. But when you are in your 30s and you finally have the cash sitting in your checking account to go buy a brand new Porsche in full, the ultimate flex, the absolute true test of emotional discipline, is having the raw power to buy it but intentionally choosing not to. Wealthy people understand a fundamental truth that broke people, and people trying to look rich, completely miss. Every single dollar you spend to upgrade your status today is $10, $20, or even $50 you are stealing directly from your future self. I'm not saying you should live like a monk forever. Celebrate the milestone, take your partner out for a phenomenal steak dinner, buy that nice watch you've been eyeing if you've saved for it, but do not permanently inflate your fixed monthly overhead. Before you sign a new lease or take out a massive auto loan, ask yourself this deeply uncomfortable question. Is this purchase actually buying me more freedom? Or is it just buying my ego a temporary trophy? Remember, true wealth is quiet. True wealth isn't about flashy logos or impressing people you don't even like at stoplights. True wealth is about waking up on a random Tuesday morning and knowing, deep in your bones, that you don't have to go to work today if you don't want to. It's options. It's leverage over your own time. Okay, let's get into the actual mechanics. What do you physically do with this pile of money? First things first, you need to ruthlessly scan your financial life for parasites. And by parasites, I am talking about high-interest debt. Credit card balances, massive personal loans, payday loans, anything with a double-digit interest rate. If you have any of this, you need to destroy it immediately. Take a chunk of that $100,000 and wipe the slate clean today. Why? Because it makes absolutely zero mathematical sense to try and be a genius investor earning an optimistic 8 to 10% return in the stock market while a credit card company is simultaneously bleeding you dry at 24% interest. You are literally moving backward. Kill the bad debt, burn the bridges, and then take all those monthly payments you were sending to Visa or MasterCard and redirect them straight into your own wealth-building machine. Step 2. You need to build your fortress. Before you start aggressively investing every spare dime, you need a rock-solid, impenetrable emergency fund. I am talking about calculating your bare-bones living expenses, rent, food, utilities, insurance, and putting 3 to 6 months' worth of that cash into a high-yield savings account. And then you forget it exists. You act like you are totally broke. This isn't just about having money to fix a blown transmission or a leaky roof. This is your psychological financial moat. When the economy takes a nosedive, when your company announces layoffs, or when you realize your boss is creating a toxic work environment, you do not panic, you don't lose sleep, you don't have to sell your investments at the bottom of a market crash just to pay rent. You just sit back, look at your emergency fund, and realize you have a shield. It gives you the power to say no to things that don't serve you. Once your debt is gone and your fortress is built, we get to the investing phase. And here is where highly intelligent people usually mess everything up. They hit 6 figures, their confidence skyrockets, and suddenly they think they need to become the next Wolf of Wall Street. They start downloading complex options trading platforms, throwing thousands of dollars at obscure cryptocurrencies with dog logos on them, and trying to day trade their way to $1 million by staring at candlestick charts for 8 hours a day. Please, if you take nothing else away from this episode, listen to me right now. Do not do this. The real, closely guarded secret of the ultra-wealthy is that their day-to-day investing strategy is incredibly, painfully boring. The goal of investing is not to get a hit of dopamine. If you want a thrill, go skydiving or go to Vegas. Investing should be like watching paint dry or watching grass grow. Keep it brilliantly simple. You do not need a fancy wealth manager taking a 2% fee every year. You need low-cost, broadly diversified index funds. Find a fund that tracks the S&P 500, which is essentially just betting on the top 500 largest, most profitable companies in America. Once you pick that fund, you automate it. You set up a system where on the first of every single month, money gets pulled directly from your checking account and buys that index fund. You do this no matter what the talking heads on the financial news are screaming about. You do this whether the market is at an all-time high or whether it's bleeding red and crashing. You ignore the noise, and you just keep consistently buying. Dollar cost averaging over decades is the undisputed heavyweight champion of building wealth. And while you are setting up that boring, highly effective system, you need to make sure you are playing the tax game intelligently. Taxes will be your single biggest expense over the course of your lifetime, bar none. So, use the legal loopholes the government has explicitly given you. I'm talking about your tax-advantaged accounts, your Roth IRAs, your health savings accounts, your 401ks. And let me pause here for a second, because this drives me crazy. If you work for an employer that offers a 401k match, meaning they will put money into your retirement account if you do, you absolutely must contribute at least enough to get that full match. If they match up to 5%, you put in 5%. Period. No excuses. I don't care how tight your budget feels. That employer match is literally free money falling from the sky. It is an immediate, guaranteed 100% return on your investment the very second the money leaves your paycheck. You will never ever find a better, safer, more guaranteed return anywhere else on the planet. Leaving a 401k match on the table is quite literally volunteering to take a pay cut. Don't do it. As we zoom out and look at the big picture, the most profound shift you need to make right now, having hit this milestone, isn't actually in your portfolio. It's in your mind. You have to actively retrain your brain to stop thinking in terms of days, weeks, or even months, and start thinking in terms of decades. When you have zero money, your brain is entirely stuck in primal survival mode. Your time horizon is incredibly short. Your only thoughts are, how do I make rent on Friday? How do I put gas in the car today? How do I afford groceries this week? It's exhausting. But you've won that battle. You have $100,000. You have graduated from survival mode. Now you have the luxury and frankly the responsibility to expand your time horizon. You need to sit down in a quiet room with a pen and a piece of paper and ask yourself, what exactly am I building for the year 2035? What about 2045? What kind of life do I actually want to live when I'm 50 or 60? Do you want to retire early and travel the world? Do you want to buy a massive plot of land and start a farm? Do you want to fund your future children's education so they never have to take out a student loan? Do you want to start your own business without the fear of starving? Wealth is not the end goal. A pile of money sitting on a server somewhere is useless. Wealth is simply the raw material, the tool that you use to carve out your ideal existence. Get crystal clear on what that existence looks like. Write it down in excruciating detail. Become obsessed with it. Because when your long-term vision is so bright and so clear, ignoring the short-term flashy distractions becomes completely effortless. You won't care about buying the new designer shoes because you know exactly how many days of freedom those shoes are costing you in the future. The disciplined habits of saving, investing, and living intentionally that got you to your first $100,000 are the exact same fundamental habits that will get you to $1 million. The only difference is, now, the wind is at your back. Before we officially wrap up today's session, let me give you a rapid-fire summary of the core principles we covered so you can stop this podcast and take immediate action in your own life today. First, remember that reaching your first $100K is mathematically the hardest part of the journey. From here on out, compound interest steps into the ring and becomes your most powerful ally. Second, guard your lifestyle with your life. Beware of lifestyle inflation. Do not buy things just to prove to strangers that you have money. Keep your fixed costs low and continue living below your means. Third, ruthlessly eliminate any high-interest debt immediately because it mathematically cancels out your investment gains and drags you backward. Fourth, build an impenetrable fortress by parking 3 to 6 months of bare-bones living expenses in a high-yield savings account to protect yourself from life's inevitable curveballs. Fifth, embrace the boredom. Keep your investing strategy incredibly simple. Use low-cost, broad-market index funds, automate your monthly contributions, and completely ignore the temptation to day trade or time the market. And finally, maximize every drop of free money available to you, like employer 401k matches, and forcefully shift your mindset to think in decades, not days. Reaching this six-figure milestone proves one very profound thing about your character. It proves that you have the discipline, the delayed gratification, the grit, and the intelligence required to build lasting generational wealth. Most people will never get to where you are right now. You have already done the hardest part. The engine is built. So please, do not get comfortable now. Keep your head down, stick to the boring plan, let time do the heavy lifting, and watch your life completely transform over the next 10 years. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending your valuable time with me today. If this episode brought you some clarity or fired you up to keep pushing on your financial journey, please do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. And before you click away, I have a question for you, and I really want to read your answers down in the comments. What was the absolute hardest thing or the biggest luxury that you had to completely cut out of your life to hit your first major savings goal? And looking back on it now, do you even miss it? Let me down below. I'll be hanging out in the comments reading through them. Keep growing, keep building, and I will see you in the next episode. I'm Tony. Take care.